Good evening, everyone. So there's a lot of confusion regarding what to expect in CMAT, CUET, PG, and MA at CET. So today is the first verbal live class brought to you by iQuanta. We'll be giving you these free classes till the entire week, and then you can join us with the paid group. Talk to you more about that later, but just to give you a brief idea of what you should be focusing on is, so there's nothing much different than other exams, but they focus primarily on a lot on vocabulary and grammar. So we'll be taking a look at the types of questions which you may encounter, you may expect. I'll give you a brief intro about how you can go ahead and prepare, and also how iQuanta will be able to help you. So let's basically start by vocabulary. Vocabulary में आप लोग क्या क्या expect कर सकते हैं? Good evening everyone. This is primarily for CMAT, CUET, that is for TISNET, and MA at CET. So let's begin with a few questions that I have here for you. Let's see. So first we'll go through basic question, very basic questions, synonyms and antonyms. Okay. Take a minute, go through these three questions. Very basic questions. Good evening everyone. The question is, in the following questions, out of the four alternatives, choose the one which expresses the meaning of the given word. So what are we looking for? We're basically looking for words which are similar or synonyms. Luxuriant. What does luxuriant mean? A lot of you will be, keen on marking luxury loving for luxuriant, but that is not the case. Luxuriant actually means something which is richly growing, which has a good growth. Luxury loving is not the right answer. The best answer in this case would be abundant. No, it's not rich. It is abundant. So these are the kind of questions you encounter: direct synonyms and antonyms. Okay, a good idea to prepare for this would be, rather than learning the dictionary meaning of the word, go for synonyms and antonyms. There is something known as thesaurus. Okay, now the difference between a thesaurus and a dictionary is, Dictionary will give you the definition of a word, while thesaurus will give you synonyms and antonyms. The mic is actually very close to me. Can't get any closer. Please make do with what we have. I'll try and speak a little louder, but yeah. Next is cantankerous. First of all, we need to know what the word cantankerous means. Cantankerous means bad-tempered, somebody who's always complaining. Now, we do not have a direct synonym, but a word which comes closest to somebody who's always cribbing or complaining. What do you think would that be? The right answer is quarrelsome, ready to pick a fight. Next we have onus. The onus is on you to prepare for the exam. Onus का direct मतलब होता है, or the direct synonym of onus is responsibility. These are the kind of questions you will encounter. Let's go ahead. Next we have derision. Derision means to ridicule or make fun of somebody. The best answer in this case would be, I think I've already named it, ridicule. मजाक उड़ाना किसी का, to make fun of someone, to deride someone. Then we have trite. Trite means dull, boring. In this case, dull and boring cannot be impudent, it cannot be brief, it cannot be clever, but commonplace, which is very regular, very ordinary, not interesting, will be the answer for trite. Next we have debacle. Actually it's pronounced debacle. Debacle is a sudden situation, something that you're not prepared for, or a complete failure, sudden and complete failure. The best answer in this case, as I said, sudden failure, okay? Sudden failure would be downfall. Next word that we have is ostracize. The mic is right here. I can't keep it any closer. Right under my chin. I'll have to hold it like this. Is this any better? How to remember these words? Shivani, that's a very good question. What you could do is, when you read a word, one thing I told you is look for its synonyms and antonyms. But the best way to remember a word is to make a sentence with it. Create a sentence. Because when you create a sentence with it, you will be able to remember its context. For example, let's take a look at ostracize. Okay, I'll make a sentence with it as well. Ostracize means to let somebody or a social group make somebody leave the social group. Just a second. Right. Now, Shivani had a question, how to remember the word. How to remember the word is ostracize. How do you use ostracize in a sentence? So, if I say, he was ostracized from the village for his immoral behavior. He was ostracized from the village for his immoral behavior. Now, you'll remember, you may not remember the word ostracized, but when you remember the sentence, you will be able to recollect what it means. उसको निकाल दिया वहां से. He was shunned out of the village. He was thrown out of the village socially, right? The best answer in this case would be banish. Prophylactic. Prophylactic basically is a course of action which is used to prevent a disease. For example, during COVID, prophylactic was wearing masks, sanitizing your hands, sanitizing everything that you touch. Something that prevents a disease. So, preventive. Shivani, does that help? Does that help in remembering words? I say it's very difficult to remember the definition of a word. So it's best to make a sentence with it. More than the word, you need to remember the context. If you remember the context, you'll be able to figure out the meaning of the word on your own. Next, the word we have is coddle. Coddle is to treat someone with a lot of care, basically to pamper someone is to coddle someone. The word which comes closest to pamper, it cannot be cheat, it cannot be protect. Protect is not pampering someone. Pampering someone would be somewhat similar to satisfy. You take care of the person's needs, every need. Next we have flimsy. Flimsy. Flimsy is something which is not strong enough. It can be an argument, it can be a material. So the hut was blown away with the gush of strong wind because it was flimsy. Clearly weak. Then you have loquacious. Loquacious is somebody who's very talkative. Another way of remembering words is to give them some sort of an identity or relate them with something. For example, if I talk about loquacious, loquacious is very talkative. When I think about loquacious, if I have to address somebody the term loquacious, I would probably think about Kareena Kapoor from Jab We Met. She would not stop talking. So the next time I think of loquacious, I'll remember Kareena Kapoor and I will remember the word loquacious means talkative. That's another way of remembering words. Clearly the answer is talkative. Next we have vindictive. Vindictive is basically somebody who's spiteful, somebody who wants to get back at you, somebody who's revengeful, who wants to take revenge. I think I've already given the word. The answer is spiteful. Somebody who wants to cause harm because he or she was caused harm by someone else. So he's trying to get back at that person. Next is inclement, generally used with weather. Inclement weather, okay? Not pleasant, harsh weather. Inclement is unpleasant. The best answer here would be unfavorable. So you see, it's not very difficult, but you just need a little bit of practice. You need to brush up a few things, and that's it. Genial. Genial means friendly, cheerful, friendly, affable. The best answer in this case would be not careful, not unselfish, not specific, but cordial. We should maintain cordial relationships with our friends and families. Accrue. Accrue is basically to increase over a period of time. We generally use it with interest. If you don't pay your debts easily, if you don't pay your debts soon, you will accrue a lot of interest. You will gather a lot of it over a period of time. The best answer in this case clearly is accumulate. Next we have barren. Barren is something which is absolutely dry, something on which nothing grows. Something on which plants cannot grow. So basically infertile, alright? In this case the closest answer will be unproductive. Then we have infamy. Infamy is basically like you have fame and you have famous. Similarly, you have infamy and infamous. It's quite the opposite of famous. It's quite the opposite of fame. It's not being not known. Famous is when you're known for something good that you've done. Infamous is when you're known for something bad that you've done. So it's negative publicity in a way. The best answer, it cannot be familiarity, it cannot be glory, it cannot be integrity. It has to be notoriety. Notorious is also something similar. Next we have intrepid. So this again, you see there is a prefix in here, infamy, you have a prefix here, in basically means not or opposite. For example, we have complete and we have incomplete. Similarly, we have trepid and we have intrepid. Trepid is somebody who's very fearful. So intrepid would be somebody who's very fearless, who does not fear anything. Clearly answer is fearless. The next word is prodigal or prodigal. Prodigal basically means somebody who is a spendthrift, who spends a lot of money. Somebody who's extravagant, or we can say somebody who's lavish. As I said, you have classes free from iQuanta till the end of this week. Later on, we'll be starting our own classes in the paid group. You can always come ahead and learn with us. Next word is perspicuous. There is a root word here, spic. Spic means to show or see. Something that you can see clearly. Perspicuous would clearly mean clear. As I was saying, we have a course launching soon. These are the course details. We have for Quant and DILR, we have 200 plus pre-recorded videos. We have 40 plus hours of live classes and 1000 plus practice questions. Similarly, for VARC, we have 100 plus pre-recorded videos, 40 plus hours of live classes, and 500 plus practice questions. For GK, we have 2 PDF notes for each month. We have static GK files and 40 plus hours of live classes. And these are delivered by the best of the trainers. For practice and mocks and timings, these are timings. For practice, you have more than 1000 Quant and LR questions, more than 1000 VARC questions, and more than 5000 GK questions. That is because Quant and LR are conceptual, VARC is also conceptual, but GK is knowledge based, so you have more GK questions because it's direct learning there for you. For mocks, we have 7 mocks for exam with detailed analysis and solution, guys. Detailed analysis and solution is more important than writing the mock. And you have time. The timings given here are 3 to 5 p.m. classes, 3 to 4 classes each week starting from December end. From December end, we'll be starting with the course. As I said, this week, all these classes are brought to you free by iQuanta. Let's take a look at the next set of questions. So earlier we were looking at the word similar. Now we're looking at the word which is opposite in meaning to the given word. Alright. So now we're looking for antonyms. Let's see. What do we have? First word we have is florid. Florid is rosy, ornated, or something which is very, very decorated. What will be the right answer? See, weak makes no sense. Monotonous is boring. Ugly would be the opposite of beautiful. Pale should be the right answer in this case, because pale is light in color, something which is just not decorated at all, quite the opposite. You see, the questions are easy. As I said, the questions are easy. You just need the right direction for which we are here. Verity comes from the root word ver, which means truth. Verity is a belief or a principle that is accepted as true or the truth. We're looking for the opposite of it. Clearly, falsehood. Then we have perspicuity. Perspicuity, as we discussed earlier, perspicacious, perspicuity is clarity. So you're absolutely clear about something. What are we looking for? Something which is not clear or hazy. The right answer in this case would be vagueness. Vagueness is when you have no clarity. It's just unclear. Next you have fervent. Fervent is basically enthusiastic, ebullient, very strong and sincere feelings about something. Passionate, you can say. The opposite of passionate clearly would be dispassionate. Next we have meandering. Meandering is going like this. If you remember, you've studied in geography, meanders are the course the river takes when it comes down in the plains. So it comes down with the force, when it hits the plains it goes like this, okay? So I'm looking for something which is the opposite of meandering. As I discussed, meandering is not straight or curved. Antonym will clearly be straight. Jettison can be used as a noun as well as a verb. So unfortunately, this still happens that, you know, all the garbage that is collected on a ship, it is generally thrown into the ocean itself. That action of throwing, or the thing which is thrown, is known as jettison. So basically, jettison means throwing something or abandoning something, to reject something. The opposite of it would clearly be accept. Next we have ameliorate. Ameliorate is to improve something, or is to calm down something, to make less worse. Opposite clearly would be worsen. Let's go ahead. Grotesque. Anybody who likes horror movies would know this. Grotesque means strange in a way which is unpleasant, or extremely ugly rather. And what are we looking for? We're looking for extraordinarily ugly, or something which is not normal. Opposite would be natural. Devious. What does the word devious mean? Devious is in a dishonest way, you know, a route which is not straight. Something like Shakuni Mama from Mahabharata. He always had a devious plan. He was always thinking something like that. So the opposite of devious would be straight. Devious is twisted. The opposite would be straight. Next we have evanescent. Evanescent is basically something which disappears very, very quickly. Something which disappears very, very quickly from sight or from memory. The opposite would be clearly permanent, something which stays. Next we have the word liberty. What is liberty? Liberty is freedom. The opposite of freedom would be clearly slavery. This was an easy one. In fact, guys, these are all not very difficult words. You must have come across them somewhere or the other. You may not remember them. That's what I said. You just need to brush up a few things and you'll be good to go. Disorderly, something which is not in order. If I talk about chaotic, that would probably be the synonym of it. The best opposite of disorderly would be arranged or organized. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Love back at you. Next we have elevation. We know what is elevation. Elevation is to make something rise. Increase the level of something. The opposite would be depression, reduce. Then you have glossy. What is glossy? Glossy is shining, something which is shining, something which is smooth. You must know what is gloss, right? The opposite clearly would be dull. Moving on. Appropriate. Appropriate means apt or suitable or acceptable. What should be the antonym? Clearly unsuitable. Reduction will be the opposite of increase, Rimzim. We are not talking about increase, we are talking about elevation, rise in the level of. So we are talking about decrease in the level of. Reduction does not necessarily mean decrease in the level of. Impeccable. What is impeccable? Impeccable is something which is absolutely without faultless, flawless. The opposite clearly will be faulty. Yes, Rimzin, correct. What is amalgamate? Amalgamate means to merge, to bring together, to put together things, or assimilate. The opposite would clearly to divide or separate. What is zenith? We've discussed this, I think. Zenith means the highest point of something, the pinnacle. Then you have the lowest point, which is known as the nadir. Moving on. Next we have public. I think this is very easy. Opposite of public will be private. Orderly. This we've discussed as well. Orderly का opposite हो जाएगा. What will be the opposite of orderly? Clearly chaotic. Simple. We've done synonyms and antonyms thus far, and I think it's been really, really simple. Rimzim, is your doubt clarified? Any questions thus far? You can take a look at this in the meantime while I wait for the questions. Again, we're starting 3 to 4 classes every week from December end. The timings will be 3 to 5. We'll have 3 to 4 classes per week. These will be paid. For QA, DILR, we have 200 plus pre-recorded videos, 40 plus hours of live classes. We have more than 1,000 practice questions. For VARC, we have more than 100 pre-recorded videos, 40 plus hours of live classes, and more than 500 practice questions. For GK, we have 2 PDF notes for each month. And we have static GK files. We have 40 plus hours of live classes. Acme is also the highest point. Acme means something in its best shape, when it's at its most highly developed. For practice, we'll give you more than 1,000 quant and LR questions, more than 1,000 VARC questions. We'll give you more than 5,000 GK questions, as I discussed earlier. More than 5,000 GK questions because they are just questions and answers. There's not much concept to be learned there, but VARC and quant deal with concepts. We have 7 mocks for exam with detailed analysis and solution. And I've already mentioned the timings and the duration, right? Any other questions thus far? Okay, let's see what we have now. In the following questions, one of the 4 alternatives, choose the one which best expresses the meaning of the highlighted word given in this sentence. This seems like fun. For this, you don't need to know the exact meaning of the word. You can even answer this question based on your contextual understanding. If you understand whether this word fits in the right blank or not, you have your answer. Let's see. Okay. First one. A few of the modern Jewish houses have been embellished at an enormous cost, but they are wanting in taste. Embellished is basically to be improved, or can you answer this question? Anyone? We can also do this without knowing the meaning of all the other words. Okay, embellished at an enormous cost. So there was an amount spent on the house. You won't spend an amount to simplify the house. Dilapidated means in a very bad condition, about to break. You will not spend money to dilapidate a house. You will not spend money to tarnish the house. You will only spend money to decorate a house. Simple? Alright, next. Erroneous observations are in the highest degree injurious to the progress of science, since they often persist for a long time. Persist is to follow, to continue to follow. It won't be abdicate, cannot be relinquish, cannot be seize. As I've already given you the answer, has to be continue. Alright, third question. While the deans were pleased that Martha had confided in them, confided is to show confidence or be honest. Martha had confided in them about her gruesome discovery. Her pending exit remained an ever-present pall that hung over the remainder of the evening like a chilly fog. Gruesome discovery. Gruesome again is extremely unpleasant. Sullen is bad-tempered, so a discovery cannot be bad-tempered. It has to be something related to extremely unpleasant or maybe ugly. Exhausting, insulting would not make sense. Hideous is correct. Docile and easily tamed when young. Docile actually means something which can be easily tamed. Docile and easily tamed when young, old males of many of the species become exceedingly morose and savage in capacity. Morose and savage in capacity. Morose actually means ill-tempered and sullen. Effervescent is full of energy. Zippy is enthusiastic again. Sanguine is cheerfully optimistic. The only answer which can fit in here is gloomy, sad, doleful. Fifth, the good knight is bound to endless fantastic courtesies towards men and still more towards women of a certain rank. He may treat all below that rank with any degree of scorn and cruelty. So you know the knight, like you have the Templars' knight. The knights were old warriors. They were supposed to be courteous towards men and women of certain rank, and they would treat others with scorn and cruelty, as in with disdain. I think I've already given you the answer. It has to be disdain, not much respect. Take a look at this. Okay. The vivacious lilac still grows, unfolding its sweet-scented flowers each spring. Vivacious, lifelike, something which is very lively. Clearly the answer is vibrant. Moving on. This illness induced a spiritual change and he resolved to renounce whatever kept him back from God. Renounce as in to give up whatever kept him back from God. As in त्याग देना किसी चीज को. The correct answer is repudiate. Repudiate has the same meaning. The early history of the country is the story of a struggle for supremacy between the cities. Supremacy is having the upper hand. The only word which fits in here will clearly be paramountcy. Who's more important? That was the struggle. The flora of Nevada. Nevada is a desert in the US. So although scanty varies greatly according to its location. Flora of Nevada, it's a desert, although scanty. Scanty means very rare, very less in number. Quite the opposite of abundant. Very little, okay? Meager. Next, we have French literature passed through the same phase from which indeed it was later in emerging, and the ultimate consequence was the enrichment of both language. Consequence is what happens, which follows something which follows an event, or the repercussion. Easy, right? It is actually easy, right? So just a little bit of practice and I'm sure you'll be good to go with these exams. TISNET in fact is a very highly rated college and you have very good options from MHCET as well as the other exam that we spoke about. These are the course details. I've already taken you through them, but for your sake just go with them one more. So this is one set of vocabulary questions that we've finished. We have a course starting at the end of December. We'll be having 3 to 4 classes every week. The classes timings will be 3 to 5 p.m. What all are we providing is clearly given on the board. You can go through it. I will be repeating it in the middle of the session again. But for now, let's take a look at another type of vocabulary question. In the following question, choose the pair of words that most nearly means the same or opposite of each other. So we have to choose a pair of words which are either synonyms or antonyms. They can be either synonym or antonym, but it has to be a pair. Okay, let's take a look at the first one. Futile. Futile means to be incapable or incapable of accomplishing something. Gratification means pleasure. Vacant means empty. Unprofitable means something which is not beneficial or useful. Clearly, I have matched my pair. Futile and unprofitable have a similar meaning. Hence, the answer is A, D, which is C. How B? Gratification is pleasant, is being thankful. Unprofitable is not being thankless. Ankit, are you with me? Yes? Okay. Mentor is somebody who teaches. Preacher is somebody who preaches. Accomplice is somebody who accompanies you in whatever you're doing. Accessory is also somebody who accompanies you in what you're doing. Accomplice and accessory are synonyms. Implicit is implied or indirect. Then we have direct. I think we've already found our answer. But still, let's take a look at what is complex. Complex is not clear, not easy, very convoluted. Permit is to give permission. Implicit and direct are actually opposites of each other, and hence I have AB is my answer. Altruistic is somebody who, how do I say? A philanthrope, somebody who does a lot for humans, somebody who is very selfless. Again, I think when I say selfless, I found the answer in A and B. Egotist is a person who's excessively conceited about themselves. They're only thinking about themselves and nobody else. Ascetic is severe and self-disciplined, something like a sadhu. Altruistic and selfish will be opposites. Hence, AB. Moving on. Pallid is something which lacks intensity or lacks vigor. Soar means to fly. Vivid is something which produces powerful feelings. And twiddle means to twist. As I said, pallid is very plain and vivid is something which is very inducive. So pallid and vivid are antonyms, which is AC. AC is option D. Next question. So, immigrate is to come to another country, emigrate is to leave one's country. You have immigration and emigration, that's how it is. Emigrate is to leave one's country. Dodge is to basically, how do I say? Move quickly out of the way. Chakma dena kisi cheez ko in a way. Shuffle is to walk by dragging one's feet without lifting them. That's called shuffle as well. Apart from what we do in the cards. And you have relocate. Relocate is to leave or move from one's country to another. Clearly, emigrate and relocate will be synonyms. Okay, moving on. Exuberant, full of energy. Effervescent, full of energy again. I think I've already found my answer. Merrymaking is having fun. Redundant is repetitive. Exuberant and effervescent both have the similar meaning. They are enthusiastic, full of energy, and hence a pair of synonyms. That's why A, B is my answer. Association is being involved with someone. Bizarre is weird, something that you don't understand. Apprehension is hesitation. And confidence, we are all aware what is confidence. Clearly, I have my answer. Apprehension, I'm not confident. Confidence is obviously the opposite. C, D, hence C is my answer. Ninth, premonition. Premonition is something, premonition is when you realize on your own, strong feeling that something is about to happen, especially something unpleasant. If you've ever seen this movie called Final Destination, it's all about this word premonition. And then you have indispensable, something that cannot be dispensed, something that you cannot do without. A very valid example in nowadays would be your cell phone. It's an indispensable part of your personality. Then you have repose. Repose means a state of rest or sleep, tranquility, shanti. Then you have superfluous. Superfluous is excessive. Indispensable is something absolutely necessary. Superfluous is something which is extra. You don't need it anymore. So B and D are antonyms. Hence E. Appellant is a person who applies to a higher court for a decision, from a lower court to the high court or high court to the Supreme Court. He's known as an appellant. Serenity is peace, calmness. Eloquent is somebody who is very fluent or persuasive in way of speaking. And then you have persuasive. So the closest in meaning would be eloquent and persuasive. Eloquent, persuasive, CD, hence CD. Any questions that you have so far, please feel free to ask. I hope what we've done is clear thus far. Okay. One more time, let's take a look at this. I cannot go on repeating myself enough to tell you that please join our course if you want a good result. We are offering this course starting from the end of December, last week of December. We'll be having 3 to 4 classes every week. The timings will be 3 to 5 every day. We have 7 mocks with detailed analysis and solution. We're offering more than 1,000 quant and LR questions, more than 1,000 VARC questions, that's just for practice, and more than 5,000 GK questions. The number of questions is more in GK because it's not based on a conceptual aspect. Concepts are covered in quant and LR and VARC, that's why less number of questions. QA, DLR, we have 200 plus pre-recorded videos, 40 plus hours of live classes, and 1,000 plus practice questions. For VARC, we have more than 100 pre-recorded videos, 40 hours of live classes, more than 40 in fact, and more than 500 practice questions. For GK, for each month you'll have 2 PDF notes, you'll have static GK files, and you'll have 40 plus hours of live classes. As I said, we're offering free classes till the end of this week. From there on, it will be paid. Okay? So I'll hope to see you there as well. Moving on, so we've covered enough of vocabulary. We've seen what kind of questions you can encounter in vocabulary. Let's also take a look at what grammar has to offer, right? Okay, coming to spotting the errors. There are 4 questions. I'll give you 2 minutes to go through them and then I'll get on with the answer. So in this case, you have to tell us, figure out in which part of the sentence is the error. You see the parts are A, B, C and D. So if there's an error in A, you mark A. If there's an error in this part, you mark B. If it's in C, you mark C, or you mark no error, which is D. Let's see. Air pollution together with littering. Anybody who wants to give the answer? This should be interesting. It's a very simple question but a trick question. बताइए. First A. No, A is correct. There's no problem with A. No, there's no problem with A. Let me ask you. Air pollution together with littering. When I say air pollution together with littering, should these two things be considered singular or plural? That's the question. Yes, Rimzim, correct. Good answer. So guys, when I say air pollution together with littering, what people tend to do is they say this is subject 1 and this is subject 2. Since we're talking about two subjects, we'll use a plural verb. But that's not the case here. Mind you, air pollution, when I say together with littering, along with littering, as well as littering, in addition to littering, no matter what, my main subject is still air pollution. This is additional information about air pollution. Hence, is. I can simply say air pollution is causing many problems. However, if the sentence were air pollution and littering, mind you, air pollution and littering, when I use two subjects joined with and, then they become a plural. Okay? Moving on. Second, the accused refused to answer to the policeman on duty. Okay. A lot of you would say this is correct. But you don't answer to someone, you simply answer someone. The accused refused to answer the policeman on duty. In the first question, the answer is B. In the second question also, the answer is B. Third is slightly difficult. I'll tell you more about this when we study pronouns. For now, I'll just give you a very simple funda. Whenever a pronoun is preceded by a gerund, what is a gerund? Gerund is verb plus ing. The ing form of a verb is known as a gerund. When a pronoun precedes a gerund, it is in the possessive case. So, if I take a look at this, do I have a gerund here? Yes. For example, swimming, reading, laughing, listening, all these are gerunds. In this case, I have attending is a gerund. I have a pronoun preceding it, which is me. Now, me should be in the possessive case. If I talk about the three cases of me, subjective case is I, objective case is me, and possessive case is my. Possessive का मतलब ये नहीं मेरा पति सिर्फ मेरा है. Possessive is my as in belonging, possession, right? Not the other possessive. So when I say me, this will become my. Now a lot of you would say my does not sound right, but that's the problem with grammar. How do we go about solving grammar questions? Let me tell you, this is what we do. ये ठीक लग रहा है, or this sounds right. We don't really go into the grammar rules कि हमने क्या पढ़ा है, what have we studied so far. We just go with our gut feeling, and that's where we sometimes go wrong. So what I'm going to do when you study with us, I'll basically not just be talking to you about grammar rules, I'll be telling you what are the very common mistakes that we tend to make, because everybody around us is making them. Mind you, if you tell someone what is the use of me attending the session, ask anybody, 9 out of 10 people will say this sentence is correct as it is, but it is actually not. Okay? My and mine, okay. The basic difference is when I say this is my class, or I can say this class is mine. Active, passive voice, that's it. Not much of a difference. I know, this is what I'm saying. This sounds wrong, but this is actually the correct answer. Okay? More about this when we study pronouns. This is just an introductory class, so let's move on. Fourth question. We met our prospective employer for a briefing session in the Taj Hotel. You don't meet someone in a hotel, you meet someone at the hotel. Another problem is that we tend to go with transliteration. So when we talk about English, what we tend to do is we look at how we would say it in Hindi, and we literally translate it. If I say मैं उसको एक hotel में मिला था, then we might translate it to I met him in a hotel. But you don't meet a person in a hotel, you meet that person at a hotel. So the error here is B, in the last one it is C. हाँ रिमजे मी तो आपको ग्रामर आती है, मी आपके लिए, you maybe it sounds wrong to you, but to, as I said, 9 out of 10 people would say it is wrong of me. Like a very basic example, I don't like him staring at me. This is a very common sentence. I've heard it so many times from a lot of women. Okay? I don't like him staring at me. This sentence is also wrong, because staring is a gerund. Before staring, it should be possessive case. So the correct sentence should be I don't like his staring at me. Anyway, more about this, as I said, when we come to pronouns. Let's move on further. Two minutes, 5 questions, just take a look at them. Okay. Fifth question. Having lived in Kerala for 10 years, my friend is used to speak Malayalam. No. My friend is used to speak. Sorry. My friend is used to speaking in Malayalam. Now you might say, used to speak sounds right. But over here, what I'm saying is, used to is one part. Used to what? Speaking in Malayalam. This is a noun phrase. This is the name of an entire action. Speaking in Malayalam is a noun phrase. The friend is used to, this is the name of the action. The name of the action is speaking in Malayalam. Okay? So the answer is C. Oh, sorry, fifth question. I missed out the fifth question. Because of the severe snowstorm and the roadblocks, the Air Force dropped food and medical supplies close to the city. There's absolutely no error here. Perfect sentence. Much water has flown under this bridge. Guys, we're using present perfect tense. I will not use flown. Flown is incorrect here. Much water has flowed under this bridge. The answer is B. Next, the law should specifically provide a clause to protect animals from poachers. This sounds about right. Specifically provide a clause, no problem. What kind of a man are you? I don't see an error with this either. No problem. The lady approached me timidly and trembling slightly, she sat besides me. Guys, there's a difference between beside and besides. So when I say besides vocabulary, you should prepare for grammar as well. This means apart from vocabulary or in addition to vocabulary, you should study grammar as well. When I say beside, it means by my side, by next to. Okay, that's the error here. In the 10th sentence, it says she sat down besides me. No, this should not be besides. This should only be beside. Hence, the error is in C. Interesting, right? Not to go away. Besides is in addition to. Try these questions. Okay, let's see. It was he who came running in the house with the news about the earthquake. What we're trying to say is घर की तरफ आ रहा था, right? He could not be running in the house. He could be running towards the house. Some of you might say it was he nahi, it was him hona chahiye. But that's not the case. This is again something which I'll cover in the class when we study pronouns. A pronoun followed by the be family. Be family is, am, are, was, were, being. A pronoun followed by the be family is always in the subjective case. Sometimes you tend to say, who's there? And you say, it's me. Honestly, that's incorrect. The correct answer would be, it's I. I know it's a little shocking. We'll talk about this later. This is just the introductory class, so moving on. 12th question. Her mother does not approve of her going to the party, not to go. Hence, B. Riding across the battlefield, the famous Bhishma saw a large number of dead warriors. We don't see a large number of dead warriors. We can see a large number of dead warriors, in fact. Yes, that's right. No problem here. My aunt was first to get a degree. Guys, first is a superlative. Superlative kya hota hai? So we have degrees of comparison. Good, better, best. So good, better, best. Good is positive, better is comparative, and best is superlative. First, last, both of these are superlatives. A superlative will always take the definite article the. For example, the best, the worst, the most famous. Likewise was the first to get a degree. 15th. Padmini had not rarely missed a dance performance or festival since she was 8 years old. What we're trying to say is Padmini did not miss, hardly ever did she miss a dance performance. So guys, this we will not use not, we will simply use rarely missed to convey the right meaning. Semantic error. Answer is A. 16 says Krupa and Kavya studied in the Delhi public school, and so does not in the Delhi public school, at the Delhi public school. Just like hotel, in not in the hotel, at the hotel. Moving on. Take 2 minutes. Alright, let's see. You can eat as much as you like at the newly lunch. I think this is a spelling mistake. It should be launch. And it should be launched bar. The teacher as well as the students, we discussed this. The teacher as well as the students, for the sake of subject verb agreement, we can remove this and treat teacher as the main subject. Have gone on an excursion? No. We're talking about the past tense. During their summer vacation, this is something which is over. we need to use the past perfect tense. Teacher being singular, I will use had. Hence, B. The US don't want Indians. Guys, the US is supposed to be a singular entity, alright? So, US doesn't want Indian in the Security Council. So, the answer is B. The cruel lady made her stepdaughter to do all the household chores. ये तो आपको भी आता है. You know this one. I would not use to. Okay, the type of question has changed slightly, but it's very similar. Instead of marking it here, now we mark it down here. The two men were quarreling with one another, claiming the same watch as their own. How many men? Two men. I would not use one another with two. With one another is used for more than two. If there are two people, we simply use each other. Had there been three men, then one another would have made sense. So the answer is 22nd. Everybody knows that Bhutan is the most peaceful of all other countries of the world, which is actually true. Bhutan is supposed to be the happiest country in the world. But the problem here is, so I'll give you a very basic idea, right? Listen carefully. We use superlative. When we use superlative, it is absolute. We use comparative to talk about other things. There are two ways of correcting this sentence. Either I can say everybody knows that Bhutan is the most peaceful of all the countries in the world, right? Or I can say Bhutan is more peaceful than any other country of the world, right? I'll tell you how. So when I say most peaceful, it is the most peaceful. There is no comparison. When I say more peaceful, then I have to compare it with each and every other country one at a time. Comparative can only be used for two things, and that's why I'll say more peaceful than any other country. Why would I say other? I could also have said any country. But if I say it is more peaceful than any country, then any country would also include Bhutan. And Bhutan cannot be more peaceful than itself. Bhutan can only be more peaceful than any other country. I hope it is clear. But in this case, we'll keep it very simple. Of all countries in the world, excuse me. So the error is in third. Excuse me. 23rd. Again, 2 minutes. Right, let's see. First, no sooner did I come out of my home to go to the market when it started raining. Guys, the structure is hardly or scarcely when, and no soon or no sooner than. Here we're using no sooner, so I cannot use when. Then it started raining. The error is in the second part. Unless you don't obey. Guys, unless already means if not. So if I say unless you don't obey, I have a double negative which will make the sentence incorrect. Okay. So unless you obey your elders, you will not succeed in your life. Error is in 1. If you had told me earlier, I would help you. No. I would have helped you. There are 3 conditions of if. The possible condition, the probable condition, and the impossible condition. This is the impossible condition. It has already happened, and this is the structure for the impossible condition. Her mother is angry and indifferent to me. This looks like her mother is angry to me and indifferent to me. In this sentence, both the verbs need 2 separate prepositions. So angry will take with. Angry with and indifferent to me. Angry with is option 2. Clear? Maza aa raha hai? Having fun? Let's try these as well. Little knowledge of playing volleyball that she possessed proved to be helpful at the time of inaugural match. Time of inaugural match or time of the inaugural match? Also, there are 2 errors in this sentence. It should be the little knowledge, not little knowledge. Little knowledge is hardly any. So there's a difference between little and a little. A little means sufficient, little means hardly any. So is the case, that's the same difference between few and a few. Few means hardly any, a few means sufficient. Over here, if she had very little knowledge, she wouldn't have helped, it wouldn't have helped. What we're trying to say, whatever knowledge she had. That's why I'll say the little knowledge of playing volleyball that she possessed proved helpful at the time of inaugural match. Hence the error more likely is in 1. 28th. I had not completed my English homework, so I thought I was done with I thought I was done with what? I thought I was done with it when the teacher asked me to hand it in. Alright, answer is 2. 29th question. Several visitors are expected to visit the trade fair this weekend. There is no error here, absolutely no error. So the answer is our professor taught us that one should respect the religions of others as much as his own. Guys, everybody would be following one religion only, right? So I would not say religions, I would say religion. The error is in the third part. I think we'll stop now as far as grammar is concerned. Before we leave, let me just tell you this one more time. We are starting our course 3 to 4 classes every week from December end. The timings will be 3 to 5. We have 7 mocks for exam with detailed analysis and solution. For practice, you have more than 1,000 questions of quant, LRQ, and quant and LRDI, for 1,000 plus questions of VARC, and 500 plus GK questions. For GK, you will have one PDF for each month, sorry, 2 PDF notes for each month. You'll have static GK files, and you'll have 40 plus hours of live classes. For VARC, you have 100 plus pre-recorded videos, 40 plus hours of live classes, and 5,000 plus practice questions. When I talk about QA and LRDI, you have 200 plus pre-recorded videos, 40 plus hours of live classes, and more than 1,000 practice questions. We will only be having these classes, these free classes till the end of this week. I hope to see you in our course post that, right? Thank you for joining in. Have a very, very happy Christmas. And I do say this to you and your entire family. Take care.